Live stream audio test, 1 2 1 2.
Welcome to the council meeting. Welcome to members of the public. We've no one on Teams tonight, but as you know, it'll be streamed on the internet and available for up to 48 hours later. Apologies for absence.
I'm sorry, Chairperson. So I have advance apologies from Councillors Pilgrim, Cole, Griggs, Thornton, Ellis and Blades.
Thank you. Now it's the time of year where we have a change around. So can I call on Councillor Hannah Young to propose Chairman of Council and Councillor Canniford to second?
Yes, I'd like to propose Claire as Chairman of Council.
Any other nominations? All in favour? Well carried. Thank you very much. As they say in some of these programmes, 1 minute, well, the operator changes rules. You say that in old films. Got that right, too, should we?
Really have to? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Peter.
Right, that follows on. It turns over like that, okay?
I've turned over.
So you're down to...
Yeah, okay. I would like to call on Councillor Crockford-Hawley to propose a vote of thanks to our outgoing chairperson for all the wonderful work he's done, if that would be possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I speak on behalf of all of those who've worn the chain, those who aspire to wear the chain, and those who are perfectly happy not to aspire to wear the chain. In other words, on behalf of all of us, to propose a vote of thanks to Peter Crewe. Being the chair of the council requires much more than just sitting magisterially up there telling us how to behave. The person who occupies the chair is, of course, the first citizen of North Somerset. That person represents all of us at functions both grand and humdrum. It requires, I reckon, 7 assets. 1, skill. 2, tact. 3, diplomacy. 4, the avoidance of party prejudice. 5, humour. 6, dignity. 7, an amiable disposition to get on well with those others who are in the chain gang around the county. Peter, I think you've fulfilled all of those 7 requirements, but in so doing, you have exposed 1 or 2 of your little foibles, your idiosyncrasies, your oddities, and of course we all share certain foibles, idiosyncrasies and oddities. One of yours, of course, is to remind us all of what happened in the days of something called Woodspring. Now, Peter, I have to remind you, there are certain younger people in this chamber who were not even alive when that organisation was in place. So I think perhaps you ought to stop referring back to the days of Woodspring. The other thing is, of course, there are some times when we test your patience and you've not been terribly good at listening to some of us. And what I think you ought to do is take a leaf out of Mike Bell's book. When you hear somebody who's being particularly stupid, difficult or whatever, you should be saying, that's a very good point you've just made, and we'll discuss it a little later. Perhaps you'll learn that lesson as you get older. I have to say, you've always helped me in my capacity as a scrutiny chairman. Never once have you allowed membership of a minor political party to get in the way of helping the process and the progress of the scrutiny panel. Your judgments have always been sound. And of course, you've always been very good convivial company at the table. And I think that is a really good quality for anyone who is the chair of the organisation. It's an admirable quality, and I look forward to you continuing to be friendly at the tables. Thank you, Peter. In 2 days' time, I shall join you in our cruise into the political sunset. But in the meantime, thank you very much for the way you've handled the council, and I look forward to your successor handling it with equal aplomb. Thank you.
Impossible. And Councillor Solomon, any further things to add?
Nothing much. I think John said most everything there. I think our present chair has done an excellent job, and I'm sure you'll do exactly the same, Claire. So, again, my thanks go out to him.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, I would like to add my own personal thanks to Peter for his support as his vice chair and the help he's given me to take over after his excellent year as chairperson of North Somerset Council. We discovered, despite our political differences, in the words of the late great Joe Cox MP, we have far more in common than that which divides us. And Peter and I both have daughters called Catherine, who I know have been a great support to us. And I'd like to take this opportunity, actually, to all our family members to say thank you for all their sacrifices in helping all of us do our jobs, because they do give up a lot so that we can serve our residents. So it's now a big thank you then, and a little bit of a goodbye. And I'm going to present you with your past chair badge, which I hope you will wear with pride, Peter.
Thank you very much.
And all the very best to you. Right, now on... Oh, sorry, Peter. You wanted to say a few words. Yeah.
Just to say a few words to Councillor Crawford-Hawley. I should remember this on Thursday when we get to the end of the mayor-making. So there we go. Now, thank you, John, for those words. Yes, you and I being at the same time, we've had some very good times, including St George's Day Parade, a lunch which started at 2:45 and finished at 8 o'clock, which was extremely good. Well, thank you all very much. I've enjoyed my year. You've all been very good and very helpful. Even Catherine, in the end, slowed down a little bit on her bit, but never mind, eh? But no, thank you all. I really enjoyed it. Thank you, one and all. I am now going to leave the stage, so to speak, and take my helpers out for a meal. Thank you.
Okay. Take care, Peter.
I'll give you a call. Good luck, Joe.
Okay. Now, I understand that this is a very important piece of jewellery. It's not really completely the sort of thing I normally wear, but as it's very important, should there be a fire, would you please make sure you rescue this, because don't worry about me, all right? Okay, now, the next most important part of the evening is to appoint our vice chair. And are there any nominations for the vice chair position? Councillor Roger. Sorry.
Or Whitfield, yes. Roger's fine. Thank you very much, Chair. I would like to propose Councillor Caritas Charles for the position.
And is there a seconder for that? Thank you. And is Councillor Charles with us tonight?
Councillor Charles is unfortunately in Berlin tonight on a speaking tour for his work. He was trying to connect to this meeting, but it's quite difficult, I believe, from abroad to do so. So I'm not sure if he's online or not.
Okay. Right, well, in that case, we can do no more, can we? But we would like to have a vote on that to make sure that the full council agree that Councillor Charles will be our vice chair. So, hands up, please.
That's clearly carried, Chair.
Thank you very much. Right, let's go on then to the next thing. Are there any people who are going to address us for tonight? So there's no public participation tonight and no deputations or petitions. Is there anybody who would like to declare a disposable pecuniary interest tonight? None? So we need to approve the minutes of the meeting that happened on the 1st of April. I trust everyone has read those minutes. Is there a vote to approve those minutes, please?
Chairperson, just before you do, for some reason we had technological glitch with getting all of the attendees come through from Modern Gov into the minutes. So some of the councillors are missing from the printed minutes at the moment, but I will make sure they're added to the formal minute.
Thank you very much. So if anybody noticed that their names were not there, you now have an explanation and that will be put right. Thank you very much. Right, now on to reports and matters referred from other committees, other than those that are dealt with on this agenda. And we have a very important matter to deal with, that is a report from the Employment Committee, which was held on the 8th of May 2025. So, Mike, would you like to speak on behalf of that for us, please?
Yes, thank you, Claire. As colleagues will know, the Employment Committee met on the 8th of May as at the culmination of a long period of recruitment for a new Chief Executive Officer for the Council. We had a wide number of applicants for the role, shortlisted a number who went through a technical assessment process, and then we had a 2-day process for the final shortlist with a number of stakeholder panels, representatives from the citizens panel, representatives from our partners, staff, and from the corporate leadership team. And then on the second day, the Employment Committee met formally to interview the 4 candidates and reach a conclusion as to our recommendation to Council for our new Chief Executive. I'd like to thank everybody, partners, stakeholders, staff, and of course the members of the Employment Committee for their work in supporting this process, and all the officers that helped us to drive this through, including, can I say, our present Chief Executive, Joe Walker, who was extremely helpful in making sure that we had a strong arrangements in place. The conclusion from the Employment Committee was that our recommended candidate to Council was Mandy Bishop, who is currently the Chief Operating Officer at Bath and North East Somerset Council. Mandy is a resident of North Somerset and has lived here with her family for a number of years, and many members and staff will remember her as having previously worked for North Somerset Council, so very much a homecoming for Mandy. We had 4 really strong candidates, but Mandy was the preferred candidate for the Employment Committee and through the process. So I'd like to recommend that Council support and formally appoint Mandy Bishop as our Chief Executive.
We need to vote on that. So, Council, can we vote on Mandy Bishop becoming our new Chief Executive? And that's carried, which is good. Thank you very much, Mike.
Okay, thank you. And can I also then now just take the opportunity, now that we have obviously made the appointment of the new Chief Executive, to just formally put on record our thanks to our outgoing Chief Executive, Joe Walker. This is obviously Joe's last council meeting and indeed last day in the job. I'm sure that there have been lots of moments over the last few weeks where Joe has been proud, probably a little bit sad from time to time. I cannot imagine that this being your last full council meeting will be much of a grievous blow to you. But we really, really appreciate everything that you've done for North Somerset over the last 6 years. You have really been an excellent leader for the staff team, a great advisor and advocate for North Somerset, as a place, and I know all members have valued your judgment and input. You've offered almost the perfect combination of that strategic vision and leadership, the drive to deliver the right kind of culture and working ethos across our staff, but also that willingness to roll up your sleeves and get stuck in and intervene when that's been necessary. I've seen a lot of chief executives over the years, and actually North Somerset has generally been very lucky that we've made good appointments. So fingers crossed we've done it again, and we've had really good leadership for the council. But I definitely think we really hit the jackpot when we appointed you 6 years ago, and we wish you every success in your new role in Gloucestershire. And look forward to working with you in the future as part of our great southwest region. I also want to just acknowledge the great work that you've done with Hayley, who's obviously coming in as our interim chief executive until Mandy starts. Again, we just couldn't wish for a more solid arrangement than we've had. Hayley's been so enthusiastic and positive about supporting the transition process, getting involved in meetings and understanding the issues so that we can have a seamless transition from tomorrow, but also taking us through to August when Mandy starts. So thank you also to Hayley for everything that you've done, and we look forward to making that a success over the next few months. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Now, Mike said many things there, but I think there might be others that would like to add to what Mike said. So is there any group leader or any other member even who would like to add to Mike's words? Anything else that they would like to say to Joe? Councillor Ashton?
Yeah, I think we all want to thank Joe for a fantastic 6 years, probably the most difficult anyone could have possibly faced. And if perhaps you'll forgive me for saying, I also am delighted that Mike's finally agreed with something we actually did in the last administration. Joe, I really am sorry to see you go. I remember the interviews where you took the job and were totally stunned that you'd actually be given it. And I said, well, okay, but you're going to the sort of person that's going to grow into the job and do an excellent job. I remember saying that and delighted that it's proven to be true. Just a little bit disappointed I didn't get much opportunity to work with you as much as I was expecting. But we wish you well. I hope you keep in touch. And I'm sure we'll be speaking again soon anyway.
Catherine, I think you'd like to say a few words.
Yes, thank you. I mean, obviously, Mike has said a lot of what any of us would want to say, but from my point of view, I just want to thank Joe for working so closely with me on children's services and that agenda. It has been quite a journey when I think back to 2019, and we started the transformation to create a discrete children's services directorate, adult directorate, public health, and we barely got stuck into that before COVID hit us, and we had to deal with significant issues and also learn very, very quickly, all of us, to work in a totally different way. I mean, I think we're so used to Teams meetings and doing remote working now that it seems normal to us, but we transformed the way we worked as a council almost overnight, and I think that you've shepherded us through that very difficult time so incredibly well. So I'm going to thank you for that, and particularly for your support in the improvement journey we've had in children's services, for your work on the SEND Improvement Board. I know, because I've attended LGA meetings and meetings with colleagues across the country, that the level of commitment and understanding that you've put into children's services and SEND isn't standard across the country. And we've been very, very lucky, the whole council, but in my portfolio particularly, we have been incredibly lucky. And for the fantastic relationships that you have built with our partners, particularly our health partners and others. So once again, thank you so much, and we will miss you.
Thank you very much. And Councillor Whitfield.
Joe, as you know, I've only been here 2 years and you've been here 6, but I can definitely say you are the best chief executive I've ever known in this council. But I've really valued our conversations, the time we spent together, your openness, the way that you deal with everybody and the way that you pull your team together. And I think you've done an absolutely excellent job, and I can only hope that that your replacement does an equally good job. So thank you very much.
And Councillor Bridger.
Thank you, Chair. And very, very briefly, just endorse what everyone else has said. And just picking up from where you left off, Roger, I don't think it's giving too much away to say that a former MP told me that Joe, you were the best chief executive that he had worked with in 3 decades, which I think speaks volumes. So thank you from me too.
And one more. Sorry, I thought we were finished, but...
No, I just want to say that when I joined the council and became a politician 6 years ago, it was about the same time as Jo has joined, and she made me feel very comfortable. Her whole open door approach was great. The fact that she would actually even send out for a nice coffee for me when we had our meetings, and I'm going to miss her for one, so good luck in your new job.
Well, Joe, I really wish you the best of luck in the future, and keep polishing that halo, because you deserve it. You really have made a difference. And I think you'd like to say something back, if you can hold back the tears.
Yeah, just a huge thank you. Firstly, a huge thank you to the outgoing chair, Councillor Crewe, and yourself, the incoming chair, Councillor Hunt, for the wonderful reception that you held this afternoon. And just completely overwhelmed with all the people that came and all the lovely things people have been saying. It's just, I've loved working here the last 6.5 years. Earlier, I said in my speech then that you put your trust in me as councillors, and I'm so glad that I've been able to rise to the challenges that have been thrown at us over the last 6.5 years, whether that's a pandemic, or some exciting things like Sea Monster that we had as well, a world first in that instance. So it's been really exciting working here. I've got some very, very special memories that I'll be taking, some great friendships I've made, and for me, it's been, as well as the place, it's always been about the people. I've worked with some great people, all of you as members, all the staff. I'm only ever as good as my staff, and I've got fantastic staff right the way from the front line into my senior leadership team who've been nothing but supportive. A huge thank you to Hayley, who's taken over probably that little bit more quickly, as I've needed to be more based in Gloucestershire over the last week post-elections, and indeed to our partners, because we can do none of this alone, and working in partnership is key to be able to get the best outcomes for our residents. So a huge thank you to everyone.
Oh, you're showing us the way. Lovely. Oh dear, back to the boring things now. The forward plan, Mike.
Yes, I'm moving that be noted, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Now then, reports on joint arrangements and external organisations and questions relating thereto. Oh, have I skipped a page? Oh, I've skipped a page, sorry. Oh, I do beg your pardon. So, motions to members, is that right? Yeah. Okay. I do apologise. Unfortunately, the papers have been handed to me and they're not in the order that perhaps I would have put them. Okay, motions to members. So we don't have any. So that's quick. North Somerset, this is a very important one. North Somerset Economic Growth Plan. And I read it word for word, so I know how important it is. So that's over to you, Mark, please.
Thank you, Claire, and thank you for building that up for us. First of all, I think it would be appropriate to thank Jane Harrison and her team for the amount of work that's gone into this. Of course, we all know what it's about. It's about a strategic vision for the next 10 years and to try and encourage long-term growth. And this obviously succeeds the pandemic recovery plan of 2020, which was clearly, when you only look around, very successful and did the job it was supposed to do, and recognised as a very good plan.
This plan has been a great deal of communication and work with stakeholders from local, regional and national level, and trying to create a positive direction of travel for our economy in North Somerset. And we have identified some priorities, or industry has, with us, that is not limiting us to those. This is just an ambition. We are trying to create ambition for North Somerset, and I think it's important that we have this growth plan to show government and other neighbours what we intend to do. We have included in here, after great discussions, some targets, around 3,000 new jobs within North Somerset, to create more employment land, reducing economic inactivity to 12%, but also raising productivity to match national averages. Now, those are ambitions, of course, but we do need to have something to work to. And we also have our inclusive growth goals within here, aims to eliminate North Somerset's presence in the top 10 most deprived areas in the UK, as well as improving the well-being metrics across all our communities. But this one is a little different to the last plan, and it is business focus. We will look this time to support businesses, existing businesses, startups, SMEs, and even large-scale companies and investments to try and get them to take the best benefits and the greatest growth they can have within North Somerset, and to benefit our talent pool and to benefit the job market. Workforce development is a priority in our plan. We want youth retention in work, but we also want to build long-term ability within the workforce and a better skills base within our workforce. But we understand and we recognise the infrastructure investment that is needed, so we have made sure this is highlighted in our plan around rail, digital connectivity, clean energy, which will support sustainable growth within this plan. But it also meets some of the energy challenges that all businesses are suffering within North Somerset. This is collaboration. There has been a strong emphasis on partnerships with WECA, with our other businesses, to encourage government investment and to drive infrastructure and employment programmes within North Somerset. We want this to be an action-orientated approach, including detailed action plans, and will adapt to interventions in response to our changing microeconomic conditions. So, in summary, what I'm looking for is support today. This is quite clearly nowadays I think it always has been, but it's clearly this plan is a pro-business council plan, and will work with our businesses to bring about the best outcomes for them, as well as the workforce in our district, and encourage growth within those businesses that we wish to support and help. So I look for the seconder.
Catherine Gibbons. Okay. And Joe, people want to comment on it, or is this, were you putting up your hands just to second it? Sorry.
It was going to be a question on the plan.
Oh, right. Joe.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. So we noticed that there is a mention in the part on the consultation in the plan that the wording is there needs to be a stronger focus on community wealth building, which we're pleased to hear. And the response was there is now specific action to audit and better understand the Council's existing community wealth building activities and to identify any gaps. Could you assure us that you'll bring back a report on that audit when it's happened, so that we can then ensure that community wealth building gets built into the plan in the longer term?
Yes, I can assure you that, and I will talk to the chair of the panel responsible and make sure they bring that into their work plan to make sure that that is met and the need is done.
Thank you.
Any more comments or questions or Joe?
Thank you very much, Chair. I have a comment, and it's just, well, I strongly support this plan, and with my responsibility for health in the council, I mean, I would point out that in general, it's not lack of access to healthcare that is what makes us ill. It's the conditions that we live and work in the first place. And so this economic growth plan is not just about jobs. It's not just about jobs. It's also about health. And it's an incredible opportunity to make a difference in these 10 years, to level up some of the health outcomes, sort of inequality that we see in our area, especially with the focus on community wealth building, and as what Mark has mentioned, the focus on inclusive growth and well-being. So I really see this as a positive way forward, and I really look forward to collaborating with yourself and our anchor institutions to make this happen. So thank you.
Catherine.
Yes, thank you. It's not a question, obviously. I just want to thank Mark and the officers and Jane Harrison for this report, which I think is very well set out. And just to highlight that I really am grateful for the opportunity that we had to discuss the area around skills, and to note that we've got a commitment to expand and strengthen our education provision in North Somerset. But most importantly, I'm very moved to see the sport and training education providers will seek that North Somerset becomes a regional flagship for SEND provision and training. And I know that some of the stakeholders we've spoken to are very keen to do that. So I think it's all part and parcel of aim to have North Somerset as a place that our young people want to stay in or return to work in. So thanks for this, and I'm happy to support it.
Thank you. Mike, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, thank you. I'm only making a comment for the purposes of reminding Mark and officers of things that I've said before. And I was just going to say, I'm really pleased in particular that the economic plan does underline the importance of good growth. And I use that phrase, and some people say, what does that mean? But actually, it's really critical and central to the plan that we're putting forward, because we're not pro-growth at any cost. We're pro-good growth, and that means that it's got to generate benefits for the community. It can't be at the expense of the population that already lives here, and it cannot be at the expense of our environment. And I think those are two important points. I think one of the things that worries me a little bit about some of the mood music from government is that they seem to think that growth is valuable for its own sake, and it doesn't matter so much what the consequences of that growth might be. For us in North Somerset, we want good growth. It has to deliver jobs, it has to deliver investment, it has to deliver infrastructure, it has to respect and protect and enhance our environment. And if it fails those tests, then frankly, people can go somewhere else. But what I think the message from this document is that we're up for it, we're up for the conversation, we want to enable that good growth for North Somerset so that our population benefits now and in the future. So I'm just going to keep an eye on the final version of this document when it gets published, Mark, to make sure that that good growth message is really clear.
Thank you, Mike. Councillor Smith.
Thank you, Chair. Just as I fight the laptop out of the way, this is mostly an ask for some reassurance on areas, and to me it looked as though the strategy had a lot of ambitions and a lot of partnerships, and I can't disagree with them or the content, although to me it did seem really intangible, as a lot of the funding is grant-based and it's commitments to pursue, to achieve and to follow on. And in this area, like, there was one mention of apprenticeships in the main body, and I'd seek clarity, is that intentional, or is that going to play a much more core role in our people development and businesses? And the same with scholarships. Are we trying to pursue them through education? And I also found the listing of young people to be quite vague, because is that orientated towards young professionals who are post-education, or is this in students and those within education to almost develop our young people earlier to put them into the employment we're creating? And the final point, could there be some clarity on if our local bids have a formal or agreed role in delivering elements of this?
Thank you, Mark. Would you like, yeah?
Thank you. Yeah, just a couple of things. Just to pick up from Joe's comment.
Sorry, Mark.
Was there someone else?
Yeah, there was.
Yes,
I thought you were going to answer that particular question. So, Tom. Yes, I do apologise.
Okay, thank you. Mine's just based on airport, believe it or not. So kind of commenting on Mark's comment about the sustainable growth, and as Bristol Airport is mentioned as one of the major infrastructures in North Somerset, There wasn't any kind of mention around the tourism industry in terms of what goes out. I was wondering, when we look at that report or when that report is done on the community wealth building, I'm also kind of intrigued to know how much community wealth is lost through that tourist deficit, and how many people leaving to go and have cheaper holidays abroad, which has given a possibility by airports, cheap flights, how much wealth we lose in the region because of that.
Lot to answer there, Mark.
Right. Yeah, well, some of it I can't answer in all honesty, but just Joe, the community wealth building, I've just picked it up. There will be a report coming back to executive as soon as that's done, so that will come back to executive first, and then I'm sure scrutiny will pick it up from that point as well. Yes, Michael, it is based around grant funding. There's no doubt about that. Luke, it is based around grant funding, but we are focusing on an active population, so 18 plus. We'll work with our education partners to try and give them the best skills opportunities they can. But we are also ensuring to look at pathways for education for our NEET population into meaningful careers. I think it's definitely worth saying that we have emphasised the fact that we need to have an inclusion policy within our economic growth in North Somerset, and focus on some of the SEND training and supporting disadvantaged groups, because they are part of the drawdown in our numbers, and clearly make it feel for some that the opportunities aren't there. We need to change that feeling in North Somerset. So this is a plan which is ambitious, there's no doubt about that, and I do understand that some of it is, we might feel we can't reach it, but there's lots of things over the last 6 years we've been ambitious about, and we've reached those ambitions, and I think it's important that we do the same here. So I'll look for the vote, Chair.
Thank you very much. So can we take a vote on this report, please? Those in favour of accepting the report? Thank you very much. I think that's carried, and I really wish you luck, because I think it is a very important part of North Somerset, actually. We don't want to lose people. We want people to stay here, enjoy living here and enjoy working here. Right, next item is the governance review, and Councillor Pryke, would you like to talk to us about this, please?
Thank you, Chair. You have in front of you the part 1 of the Council Governance Review. As I'm sure you'll be aware, on the 18th of February, this body established a group of 9 members reflecting political balance to agree the protocols that were put out from the paper from the Executive. You have in front of you part 1 of this. A decision was taken by myself and the group and the officer team, advising us that we would take the small wins first. So some of the things that you will see here are some of the easier points and pieces of work that were already being worked upon. You will then note, I'm sure, what is within part 2 is some of the meatier sections that we will be discussing, and I would encourage all councillors to continue to come along to the group and feed into this important piece of work. As such, I move the recommendations.
Thank you very much. Is there anything anyone would like to talk about regarding this report? Oh, very quiet. That's good. Right, can we have a seconder then, please? Thank you, Stuart, that's great, thank you. And all those in favour of accepting this report? Clearly carried. Well done, that's brilliant, good work. And now on to the corporate parenting report from Councillor Gibbons, please.
Thank you. And this is for noting, and I'm sure that you've all read it. But basically, this is a report drawing your attention to the importance we place on enhancing our fostering sufficiency as a really key priority. So I think we're pleased to see that there's real progress. Recently, we've increased the number of local foster carers to 87, which is great because it's important to keep children local, connected to their families, their schools and their communities. And I think we can attribute this shift, this positive shift, to our refreshed fostering offer, our very dedicated team, and the strategic marketing, which has resulted in 5 new fostering households welcomed between 2024 and 2025. And I think you'll see in the report that our community engagement efforts have really improved. So we include fostering information sessions, participation at local festivals. I've certainly seen our fostering team out with their stand at the Eat festivals and various other places, and it really does have an effect and cut through, because I've seen loads of people talking to them. One conversation can lead to transforming a child's life if somebody takes on that role of fostering. We also have initiatives like our Fostering Friendly Employer programme. And of course, our social media presence has also grown. In this day and age, you have to have a social media presence. And this has led to increased inquiries, including one from a potential carer inspired by the child's story that was shared online. And I think you'll see in the report we've shared a story there, so you can really get the feeling of the human impact that being a foster carer has on a young person's life. Southwest Fostering Recruitment Hub has successfully generated 73 inquiries for North Somerset, and that has led to 5 approved fostering households, as we heard. 4 more are currently in assessment, and we hope to approve at least 10 more households by March 2026. So we'll be fulfilling our aims to expand our offer of local, loving homes for children. So these actions align obviously with our Council's corporate plan, ensuring that children in care receive safe, supported surroundings to thrive. And I know we all, as corporate parents, are committed to building on the momentum we've achieved so far for the betterment of all our children and young people. So thank you.
And thank you very much for the report. I know it's for noting, but I really do understand the importance of the work that is being done, and I cannot imagine, if I was a young child in need of care, the difference that it would make. And you know, it's very important work, so I really value all of the work that's done in North Somerset on behalf of those children. Right, now on to everybody's favourite time, question time. Please put your hand up if you'd like to ask a question. So shall we? Are you going to write those down for me? And I actually have been asked to remind you to supply the clerk with a note of the question for inclusion in the minutes, if that's possible, please. Thank you very much. All right, let's kick off with Councillor Purdon, please.
Thank you, Chairman. My question is to Mike Solomon, Executive Member for the Leisure Department. The Portishead Urban District Council, in their wisdom, planted some relied-type trees near a stone wall belonging to a private house on the Portishead Lake grounds. Over the years, some of these trees have died, some have blown down, taking part of the wall with them, while others are growing well, others are growing over the neighbour's garden. Will you please come to Portishead and meet with me and the ward member to see if a solution can be found to this problem?
I'm more than happy to do that, so I'll arrange with you afterwards, Peter, to fix a date. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Tristan, your question, please.
Thank you, Chair. This is a question to Mark Caniford. And it's about the Planning and Infrastructure Bill that we debated at some length last time. It's a different aspect of it this time. The bill's currently going through its committee stage in Parliament, and we've become aware that, as well as all the rather anti-democratic measures in it, it has a significant number of proposals that would reduce the protection afforded to nature and biodiversity. There's some fairly major organisations, the Wildlife and Countryside Link and the Campaign for National Parks, have voiced concerns that the bill weakens environmental law, risks species extinction and jeopardises habitat loss. There is a danger in the way that it's currently written that it will allow developers to cause habitat damage and then pay a levy afterwards, rather than the way things do now. We request that the Member for Planning writes to the Minister, to Angela Rayner, asking that these proposals are reviewed, in particular paying attention to the very detailed revisions suggested by the Bat Conservation Trust.
Thank you. Mark.
Yeah, thank you for that, Joe. I agree with you. The fact is that if developers want to develop on land, they've got to learn, and we must have a society that lets other species live on the same land that we live on. Otherwise, you know, what is the point? I think I've had a quick word with the leader on this, and I don't think we've actually written the letter to the Deputy Prime Minister as yet, regarding the motion from Council last time. And I think, with your agreement, that if we added that to it, gives it more gravitas coming from the leader of North Somerset. I'm very happy to sign that as well. But I do think that it would be better than flooding them with further letters. So let's hit them one hard, because you're quite right. The two issues that you have brought up, I think, are of great concern. And I think the excuse we just need to speed up the planning system, you know, that's fine, as long as everything doesn't suffer in the same line of that speed. So we do need to make sure these things are done properly. And yes, I support what you're saying. And if you're happy with that, I'll get the leader to write with that same letter.
I'm very happy with that approach. It seems an eminently sensible way to do it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Pryke, you've got a question.
Thank you, Chair. My question is to Councillor Caniford. As part of the parking management strategy, does he have any intention to introduce parking charges along the beach in Clevedon? And if so, when?
So in terms of reviewing the 6-month review and the other reviews we do with parking, I'm not going to rule out any area in North Somerset that may benefit from a flow of traffic and a flow of parking, because obviously I think we are pretty much all aware that having any area clogged up with traffic sitting there all day isn't helpful. However, if there is any plans to introduce further parking charges, that will go through the normal channels. Councillors will be informed and scrutiny will have their opportunity to help form that policy or object to that policy. So I can't actually say yes or no, but the reality is it will go through the same process as if it is introduced at some further time, and I can't tie any further council to a decision that I'm going to say now.
Okay. Right, okay. Councillor Smith, have you got a question, please?
Thank you, Chair. This is a question to Councillor Solomon. One of my residents has had their driveway seriously damaged due to the circus and the Salthouse Fields struggling to manoeuvre through the access gate due to a leaning tree on the access point and the increasing size of the attractions. Could you recommit to the access being marshalled for future circuses and to investigate options to widen the access and to trim the tree?
Thank you, Luke. Yes, I know about this tree, and I've spoken to our officers about the tree, and it's their contention that the tree isn't an issue. However, I'm more than happy to meet with you on site and also look at the issues with you and revisit the problems you've experienced there.
Thank you very much. Councillor Applin, have you got a question for us?
By any chance, you don't think it's me who sat in Mark Aplin's seat? Because I did raise my hand. Yeah, it is me. Me and Mark are two good-looking boys, so I can see the error. I'm obviously not built like Mark. I'm built like a Pringle. Cool. So my question is to Councillor Hannah Young. It's so the recent changes to the bus going through Locking Castle, so the X5, which now changed to the X11. It's causing me concern, and residents have contacted me about the impact that that's having on them. So my question really is about the design of the X11 doesn't feel like it's going to be sustainable. What steps can the council explore about changing or refining those routes, and then how do residents get involved in the design of that?
Thank you for the question, and I know that it's been a cause of concern because I've obviously received queries from your residents as well. And I think there's been a lot of misunderstanding around this service. The X11 was put in place by the council as a fully supported service, which means that we've commissioned it and funded it using the bus grant that we've received from government this year, because no commercial operator will actually run that service at all. It wouldn't make money for them, and therefore it's just, you're absolutely right, it's not sustainable. It's only sustainable through public funds. It's had to be rushed through because otherwise residents would have been left without a service entirely in April. And when the council went out to tender, we used a budget of £500,000 for the service and went out to tender for an hourly service. That would have been my preference, of course it would, so that we could keep the connection of residents through that area to the central interchange and obviously as much western as possible. We received 3 bids for that service, and none of them were able to do it within the budget at an hourly service. So We've opted for the 2-hourly one at this point in time, but I'm very, very much open to looking at how we can improve that as we go forward. And in terms of the connection to the Whirl interchange, again, that's been raised by residents of Yatton as well as those who are within your own area. It is difficult because the reason it was moved away from Whirl was to give residents of Westwick some access to a bus service because they didn't have anything previously. So there's always a trickiness about bus impact, that if you take a service from one area in order to be able to give somebody something, it might reduce the frequency in the area for those people who have something, and it's always very, very difficult to make those decisions. In terms of helping us to make those decisions, please, I always welcome people giving us feedback. And we have the bus forums that are coming up just next week on the 19th. It's online, a session from 6 till 7:30, 19th of May. And on the 21st, there's an in-person session at the campus from 3:30 to 5:30. So if any residents want to come along and have their say, when we are looking at the bus service changes for the next change date of September, we take account of all the feedback that we get through the forums, but also everything that people tell us during the course of the 6 months and the period before that. So we genuinely go through it. We work on that with bus operators where we can, and with the West of England Combined Authority, who also play a role because they are a joint transport authority with us. So very much welcome the views. Certainly would look to see if we can make tweaks or more fuller changes to that route. I'm very, very open to hearing more from residents about what they would use, because ultimately the more residents using the service, the more fares that we get, and the more sustainable those services become. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. Councillor Pepperell.
Thank you, Chair. A few months ago, I came along to Council with some pictures of rewilding, as it was called, on the Queensway, and I was delighted and very grateful that this was cleared away within 2 or 3 days, and thank you very much. And now another much bigger thank you. We have some wonderful, wonderful rewilding. These pictures are along Wolford Avenue, and it is really beautiful, and residents are taking friends out and visitors out. You've got to come and see this, you've got to come and see this, and they're all talking about it, and we want to say thank you very much. On to my question, though, to Councillor Solomon, which is about trees again, I'm afraid. And here's another picture. We had 2 trees like this on this footpath right by a primary school grounds to the left, footpath which they used to get to school, you can see. And there were 2 trees there like this, and for 2 years we tried to get something done. And at last they said, we're going to sort it out. And they did, but they only took 1 tree down, and they had to get special equipment there because of the sighting. And we're absolutely speechless that this one is left, still overhanging the school playground and the footpath. So please, could it be looked at?
Yes, I guess they're always going to be looking at, especially our tree officers, they're going to be looking at the safety aspect, but they're also very reluctant, I think, to take any trees down. And if you see the sort of kickback we get if we do ever take trees back down, it's not a thing that they want to do easily, and it's not a thing we want to do easily. But what I certainly will do is I'll get it re-looked into, see if it's actually safe, and if it is causing real issues, then obviously, and there's a safety problem there, we'll look at having it removed. I will action that tomorrow with officers.
Thank you very much. Perhaps I should have said it's by Castlebatch School. Thank you.
Thank you also for taking the trouble to bring in those photographs, particularly the beautiful wildflowers. It's a real positive story there. The trees I'm a bit worried about because one of my grandchildren go to great-grandchildren go to Castlebatch School, so we'll get that done soon. Councillor Dorr, you have a question.
Yeah, my question's to Councillor Young. I'm very sorry for springing this on you. I was asked to ask it today and I haven't had time to get it over to you. It's around the policy that we have on private hire vehicles and their use of bus lanes. I've had a couple of residents and a couple of people who are taxi drivers ask me about why it is that with us putting in lovely new bus lanes, say lovely depending on who you are, around these BSIP schemes, is it possible for the private hire vehicles to start using them as regular taxis do? Because there's a bit of confusion with it because if you go into Bristol, private hire vehicles are allowed to use bus lanes, but they're not here. I'm happy to just take a written response and give you more info later.
I can commit to looking into it. I know there are regulations around it, and off the top of my head, I can't remember what they are, but I'll get a written answer to you. And there is national guidance on the use of bus lanes. So we have been following LTN 124 as far as we can in terms of the national guidance, which came out in January last year on usage. And if we're out of kilter on that, then we will certainly be looking to, well, we have a range of policy work which has gone to the scrutiny committee around how we're getting back towards LTN 124. But in terms of that specific question, very happy to look into it in more detail.
Thank you, Hannah. Councillor Parker, you have a question.
Thank you, Chair. My question is to Councillor O'Maris. Can you advise if any progress has been made regarding a licensing scheme for private landlords within within North Somerset?
Thank you very much, Councillor Park, for that question. This is something that we've been plugging away, as you know, since the very beginning of this administration, and it's been a priority for all of us and all of our parties, I believe, including your own as a manifesto promise. So I take this very, very seriously. What has been done more recently is, as you know, in October, we had an inquiry day to try to get the best of professional opinion on this topic, as well as local feedback from landlords as well as tenants. And I will now defer to my colleague, Councillor Dan Thomas, who's chair of the Adult Services and Housing Policy and Scrutiny Panel, who I believe is leading this process, and I await their report. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenna. Thank you, Councillor Parker. Yeah, as Jenna said, an ASH cross-party working group is progressing the actions from the inquiry day. It's due to meet next on Monday the 19th of May, with the report going to the executive and the next opportunity. So, as said, also, whilst there's a political desire to deliver landlord licensing, and those who attended the inquiry day will know there was compelling evidence heard on its introduction, it does require significant investment and resource to introduce from this council, so it does require careful examination. I'm happy to speak to you further on this.
Thank you. Councillor Davis, last question.
My question is to Hannah Young. Sorry to spring it on you as well, Hannah. I've just seen an email that I was looking at the other day. It's in relation to the school safety zone in St George's. I obviously had some correspondence from your team in relation to the fact that it was going to be it wasn't going to be decided until after the 1st of April, I think it was, because of the new financial year. I just want some assurance that we could revisit that, please. Just that, because there's 3 schemes that I've put in, but that's the one that's most important. I have had a parent who's reported to the school headmistress in relation to another near miss. It's the only school in North Somerset without a school safety zone, and I would be really appreciate if you could just have a look at that again for me and come back to me. I just realised that it's 2 years next month that I went there with Councillor Bell to talk it through. And I'm still sat here, you know, with parents complaining and not happy about the fact that it's the only school without a school safety zone. And I'm just really worried that maybe something's going to happen. So.
Thank you for the update. And I was really pleased that we were able to put that on the programme and to make sure that we're at least starting work on that process, having put things into the pipeline. I'm really happy to pick that up again. And yeah, very happy to work with you on it. And thank you for the apology for not letting me know about questions. I can't think I ever get notified about questions in advance. So I'm perfectly happy to take whatever questions people have of me anytime they like. It doesn't mean I'll immediately have the answer, but I'm very happy to work on it for you, Stuart.
Thank you very much, Hannah, and that concludes the questions for today. But I have to say, we have covered a wide range of subjects, and it's a really good example this time of the work that the Council does. So thank you to all of those involved. Right, on to the next item, which is the reports on joint arrangements and external organisations and questions relating thereto. And we have an Avon Fire Authority report from Councillor Connolly, please.
Yeah, the report relates to the Avon Fire meeting on the 19th of March. I'm not going to go through it. I'll treat it as read. So if you've got questions, I'm happy to pick them up. If I can't answer them, I'll come back to you.
Has anyone got any questions for Councillor Connolly? No, I think we've all read the report, and to be honest, it is self-explanatory, I felt. And have we got any petitions to be presented this evening from members?
None, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. And on to the Council's constitution for the year 2025 then. Over to the solicitor to introduce for us.
Thank you, Chairperson. Obviously, there will be some constitution changes flowing from the report you considered earlier. I will take those away and make those. Other than that, there are no recommended changes to the constitution, although there may be a further batch coming, as you heard earlier, in September.
Thank you. On to the political balance and leaders and deputy leaders of the political group for the same municipal year.
Thank you. Firstly, to report that Councillor Ashmont has notified me that he is remaining as an independent member but rejoining the Liberal Democrats and Independents group. Therefore, political balance on the council as of today will be Conservative Party and Independents 15, Liberal Democrats and Independents 11, Labour 10, Green 8, Portishead Independent 4 and Independent No Political Grouping 2. Leaders and deputy leaders, no change in Conservative, Councillors Ashton and Pryke. Liberal Democrats and Independents is Councillor Bell and Councillor Coles. Labour is still Councillor Gibbons and Councillor Young. We have the temporary arrangement in the Green group of Councillor Tristram and Councillor Thomas. Portishead Independents, again no change, Councillors Whitfield and Holland. And that leaves Steve Bridger and Councillor Stuart Davies of no political groups.
Thank you very much. I think we all understand and know who's doing what now. Right, so on to constitutional appointments then. The leader is to appoint up to 8 members of the council to form the executive, to be known as the cabinet.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So I know the list was circulated to members, but just to confirm that the cabinet lineup will remain the same 9 members as in the previous year, but the remits have been slightly tweaked and the detailed portfolio responsibilities will be updated on the website in the next few days, and we'll make sure that that's circulated to members for you to refer to. But if there's any clarifications that colleagues need post that, then please do let me know. And then I think the second item is to propose the appointment of the committee chairs in line with the new structures that were agreed earlier in the meeting. And again, the proposed list of committee chairs was circulated in advance. I'm happy to repeat those if anyone needs them, but I'm going to assume that colleagues have read and digested those. And as has been the convention in previous years, we are proposing that the committees elect vice chairs at their first meeting.
Thank you. Is there anyone who would like to make any comment? I think we all read it, and thank you for providing the information. Can we have a vote on that though, please? All in favour? So none gets. Okay, that's carried then. Thank you very much.
And finally, on that item, I will contact group leaders in the normal way. Obviously, there's a change to the numbers on some of the panels now, so I'll be contacting group leaders to update all your memberships for the various committees now.
Thank you very much. Right, on to appointments to outside bodies.
Yes, Chair. So the list of appointments to outside bodies was circulated with the agenda. So unless there are any amendments being proposed this evening, I move the list be approved.
A hand is up from Peter.
Yeah. Question, Chairman. I noticed that a councillor who's on a sabbatical is down to represent this council on Scosler. Could I ask that arrangements be made to find a deputy? Because I think it's far too important a committee not to be represented.
Thank you. It's sorry, I don't want to trigger Councillor Crockford-Hawley, but that's a really good point, and we'll make sure that we'll make sure that's addressed.
Thank you very much, Peter, for noting that. Well done. Right, so it's on to the next item. Right, so appointments to outside bodies then. Is that the one we've just done? Yes, okay, I beg your pardon. Right, so on to the municipal... Oh, sorry, Hannah.
No, it's just briefly that, apologies, I hadn't noted it before, but there are a couple of contact details changes in relation to that paper. So if I could just feed them through separately for them to be noted in the next iteration.
That would be wonderful. Any contact details or updates, please do feed through to my office.
Right, okay, and actually if that happens during the year, that's useful to remember because things can change and it's very easy to forget. Right, on to the municipal calendar then for the forthcoming year.
Okay, that's really a noting item. You do vote on it technically, Chairperson, but the calendar's before you, and we would, if you approve that, we will take all those dates, put them into the calendar, and then obviously any alterations as we go through the year will be agreed by Chairperson.
So can I have a show of hands for approval then, please? Thank you very much. Right, announcements. Well, I would just want to say thank you to everybody who said something kind to me before this meeting, wishing me well, and, you know, it isn't easy. It's not a natural position for me to be in, to be honest. And when I joined this council, I had no idea I would ever end up sitting in this chair. And I really do want to thank everybody who wished me well. And all I can do is to do my very best for you, because, you know, that's all any of us can do. So forgive me for my ills, but I will try and make things as interesting and as exciting as I can in this role. Thank you ever so much, everybody. Right. Now, have you got anything to say?
No, thank you.
Mike, you anything? I think you...
Well, actually, I'd forecast that the meeting was going to finish at 7:18, so I'm so I'm tempted to keep going, but no, nothing from me, thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And we've had so many words from Joe, but it would be always nice to hear more.
No, thank you.
Oh, well, thank you very much. And is there any urgent business? Oh, how disappointing. Well, thank you all, you know, for making it fairly easy. It's been a very long day, and my lift isn't going to arrive for another hour, so I don't know what I'm going to do. But safe journey home, everybody, and thank you very much again. See you all next time.